Hi, I'm Amy from Following Hawks, and I wanted to come on here and chat just briefly today about something that keeps coming into my consciousness. And I know when a topic keeps popping up again and again that at some point it's time for me to talk about it, share about it, write about it in some way. And so that's what's been happening with this. And what it is I get asked on a somewhat regular basis whether or not I offer some kind of certification for completing the Earth Tenders Academy. And the short answer is no. And I can't imagine a situation where I ever would. But I want to explain why that is, because I don't think there's anything inherently wrong or bad about certification programs. And I'm sure there's lots of wonderful programs out there if that's something that you're looking for specifically. But it doesn't feel right to me to offer that for what I'm teaching. And partially because really what I've created with the Earth Tenders Academy is really more of I see it as a portal for you to step into or step through. And when you do that, you are opening up to opportunities to remember what you already know. I'm not here to teach you anything completely new, even though in your human body you may say to yourself, oh, I didn't know that. But it's more like the information comes through and lands in your body, and it unlocks and opens things that are part of your multidimensional selves. So, all those other versions of you and all the other lifetimes that have this knowledge and have this wisdom are able to come through with your special gifts, your special wisdom that is unique to you. And you will work with your own guides through this as well. And so just like I did, initially, even though I have had some human mentors that have helped me understand some of the specific, structures and frameworks that I teach, ultimately, when it gets into a lot of the information about grids and portals and vortexes and stargates and all of these different things, I have been learning this from my guides. I've been learning this from other versions of myself, from spirit. And spirit doesn't offer me a certification. So, I could ask them to fax over the certificate, but I don't think they would do that. So ultimately, it's really an exercise in trusting ourselves and trusting that we are receiving the information correctly, that we are learning as we go, and that we don't need somebody to certify our knowledge, our experience, our wisdom. So you could certainly tell people that you've taken the course, but really the course is meant to unlock your own information. So everybody's experience is going to be different. And ultimately, I don't believe in any strict guidelines and dogma for how you go through this. I share what's worked for me, what I've figured out. But in that unlocking, you'll be surprised at what you find, and that you actually know exactly how to do something. And once you kind of understand the framework, you can dive in and do it in your own way. And so it was really interesting to me that the way that this was really kind of pushed home that I needed to share about this by spirit is that I was communicating on social media with kind of a friend of a friend who is also has a spiritual business and does courses and retreats and trainings and those types of things. And she was sharing about an experience that she had at a retreat in Sedona, which is already going to be like very heightened energy. But I was kind of trying to read between the lines on what she was talking about, and realized that she had been given the impression along the way that any kind of interaction with, lower vibe energies was in some way her fault. She was responsible and had put herself in a position where she was open to those kind of energies. And I was explaining that that's not the case at all. They exist. They're around us. And so we just need an understanding and a framework of how to deal with them. And her response was, I can't believe nobody's talked to me about this before. I have gone through 3 certification programs and not one mentor has talked to me about these types of energies. And it was shocking to me because it's literally the first module of the Earth Tenders Academy. You know, it's not something I love to spend a lot of time and energy and focus on, but it's such an important foundation that we need to have that understanding before we can run off and be talking about all the fun things like portals and vortexes and stargates. We need to understand how energy works and how these energies interact with us. And, you know, I felt bad that she was kind of beating herself up for having this experience, or made to feel responsible in some way that her energy wasn't in the right place for this to have occurred. And so it just really highlighted that even through certification programs here, you know, she's really kind of kicking herself and saying, how was that not the first thing I was taught? That seems like a basic thing that I should be taught through these programs. So I bring that all back to say, you've got to look into what it is that you're wanting to learn and go with where you're feeling called. And ultimately, you know, we all have the experiences that that we need to have to learn the lessons that we need to learn. And so there's nothing good, bad, right, wrong about any of the paths that we choose. They're just the path that we end up on that takes us to our final destination, whatever that is. But it really underscores, again, why I'm not going to offer a certification program for the Earth Tenders Academy, because in some ways I think it offers a false sense of, you know, security that you've somehow checked everything off the list and now you know everything there is to know and you can go forth and do your work in the world. The reality is you don't need the Earth Tenders Academy. You don't need anything to be able to work in spirit. You don't need to be certified to work with your guides. So just look for what is calling to your heart, what is calling to your spirit, because what I think these different kind of programs and things like the Earth Tenders are created to do is really, again, just to unlock that wisdom in yourself. And I believe that we have left things behind for ourselves in other people's work, and that through experiencing that, we're able to pick up those things and go, oh yeah, I remember. I actually know exactly how to do this. So follow your heart with that. We'll never leave you or lead you astray. But I hope that that explains a little bit more about why there is no certification for the Earth Tenders Academy. It's up to you to work with your guides through this portal of remembering that I have created for you. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask any questions. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.